Good evening and welcome to the Leadership Challenge Show one more time here on EBN TV. It is always a joy for me to welcome you and to have you joining us to discuss on matters of leadership with the aim of impacting on the leadership that we receive in our country, whether nationally, county, institutionally, and even at family level and in the society. Thank you for joining us, and we value your views and ideas. At the bottom of the screen, please find a number and text us, tweet to us, and keep messaging to us. Tell us what you think about the topic of discussion today. We are blessed again to have my friend and colleague and a partner in the ministry, Pastor David Kamau Wamadu, one of the ministers at Redeemed Gospel Church, Buruburu, and also an expert on matters of strategic management. We have a full tray today. Please keep together with us. Welcome, Pastor David, and greet us that we may continue.
Thank you, Reverend Kavoi, and all the viewers. I greet you in the name of Jesus.
Thank you so much for finding time to be together with us here today on our discussion. Today, we continue where we left last time when you were here. And now, because we were talking about leadership and transition, now we want to discuss successful leadership, and we want to put our eyes and focus on posterity. Yeah. So last time, you remember what you said, that success is not success unless there is a successor. You can introduce that and then we roll on.
Okay, thank you very much. Just a short recap on what we discussed last time.
Yeah.
We said that if you look at the word successor, it is the only word that has success in it.
Oh.
And therefore, if you look at what starts, it's actually successor. The first word is actually success. And that's why we are saying you cannot have any success without a successor. It is one of the things that is going to help you to be able to enjoy successes, because we say that we are mortal men. At one particular time, we have to exit the scene. And when we exit, what happens after that is what measures whether we are great leaders or not great leaders. And therefore you must have men and women who are able to move forward with what you are doing. And therefore, if they fail because you did not train them well, then even if you are a great person, your success is going to be seen by the people that you are actually that are now reading right now. And that's why a successor is so important. You really need someone else to be able to project forward what you have always been doing. So that's why we are saying, if you are successful today, and tomorrow there is nobody else to make whatever you are doing to be success, then you become a failure. And that's why it is quite important that we start developing people who are able to move forward with the programs that we are moving
on. Actually, you are advancing the understanding that no matter how hard we work and how big things we do, trying to impact the nation, whether at national level or county level, family level, unless we are able to raise successors, our effort one day will go down the drain.
It will go, and I can actually start by saying, you see, our God is a generational God. He is a God who moves with generations. And you realize that you cannot be in all generations. You can be in this generation, the second generation, but you may not be in the third and fourth generation. So the question is, when you are not in those generations, who are the people that are carrying forward whatever is supposed to be done? And if you look at our Lord Jesus Christ, the first thing is that he had a mission. And that was actually to save the whole world. And what he did, he had to get successors people who are able to continue with his vision and the ministry that he had.
Yeah.
Even when he left, there were men and women who are able to continue propagating the gospel of Christ. And this is actually where the success comes in.
Yeah.
Because you find you are not stopping at your generation. You are continuing with the program even in several generations to come. And that's why it is very important to have people who are able to move forward with what we have been doing.
So now then, if we are talking about leadership that succeeds, we must begin to look at future generations.
Yes.
And we are talking about the well-being of the future generations, posterity.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about leadership that focuses on posterity. Is it really going to be a successful leadership unless we begin to do things for future generations?
Well, let me say that there can't be any success without thinking about future.
Yeah.
If you go to the book of Genesis 12 and verse number 2 and verse 3, it talks about Abraham. There is a statement that God said to Abraham.
Yes.
He said, I will bless you. So that is actually in his generation.
Yes.
But in verse 3, he said, and every other generation will be blessed through you.
Through you.
So you find it is something that is moving.
Continuous.
It is continuing.
Yes.
So it does not stop at your generation. And therefore, we must actually, first of all, ensure that we are moving with generations. And I can say one thing. Today, the positions that you have been given, or the position that you are in, it is not your position.
Yeah.
It is a donated position.
Yeah.
This position has been given to you so that you'll pass it to the next generation. And the question is, how are you going to pass? What is it that you are going to pass to the next generation? If, for example, you are going to pass blessings, like Abraham, he did a good thing and he passed blessings to the next generation. And today we are saying, this, what you are doing, like the leadership we are in today, it is not your own leadership.
Yes.
It is a leadership that has been given to you so that you'll present it to the next generation.
Yeah.
And the question is, if, for example, you don't care about the next generation, what is it that you are going to pass to them? And that's why we are saying it must be clear that us in this generation, we must think about the next generation. Because the generation will ask you, as our father, what did you do for us?
Yes.
As our leader, what did you do for us?
Yes.
And these are questions that you'll be challenged on. These are questions that you'll be judged on.
Yeah.
You are given something so that you can make it to be better for me.
Yes.
But when you passed it to me, it was not as good as the way it was given. And these are the challenges we are saying. We must be able to do something that is going to impact on the next generation. Without doing something that is going to impact on the next generation, we totally become failures in what we are doing. Yes.
Then I think we really must now begin to seriously make it known to the leaders.
Yes.
Because I see a lot of leaders that are occupying offices trying to make shortcuts. And because of that, they don't know what they are doing to future generations.
Yes.
You find people that are in charge of projects, let's say a road project, they do shortcuts. Maybe they don't do the roundabout in the right way.
Yes.
And then when the traffic, there are some of the problems that we have now, simply because our leaders in the past, they messed up on the master plan that was there. I wish you could talk about this on the importance of leaders doing the right thing so that future generations will not come to suffer because of the mistakes that they have done.
And that is a pertinent issue. And that is something that all our leaders, they need to listen and listen good.
Yes.
In the sense that what you are doing today has an implication for the future.
Yes.
If you do bad things in
Yes.
terms of the planning,
Yes.
this planning may not affect you in this generation, but it is going to affect the next and the next generation.
Yes.
When we talk about legacy, because I know we'll still get
We
there,
will still come there.
it is actually a name for yourself. If, for example, you do the wrong things today, and
For the
people-
sake of your name.
yeah, for the sake of your name,
Yes.
and people suffer tomorrow, what will happen is that they will know you as a bad leader.
Yes.
You did not plan for us. You knew that the population is going to increase at one particular time.
Yes.
In terms of the vehicles and all that, if you talk about like infrastructure.
Yeah.
But you did not take time to articulate what will happen some few years from now. And that's why we are saying, even in our planning, we cannot plan for today. As leaders, we must plan for future. And this future takes the future generations. It takes the future, the future things that are going to happen. And therefore, for our leaders, if, for example, any leader goes and do things which are not well thought,
Yeah.
this is something that will actually bring a serious challenge to the generations.
To the generations to
and
come.
the generations will not be very happy with your leadership because you did things
Yeah.
only for yourself
Yeah.
and you did not do it for the people. And therefore, the leaders, they must go above in
Yes.
terms of their own ambitions.
Yes.
And they get to love people and do things that impact on the people.
Briefly mention on corruption, because corruption is shortcuts.
Yes.
And distortion.
Yes.
If the road was supposed to pass here, somebody is tilting it. You have even had leaders talk about let the river move. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
It's the let the river move.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. The river can move
Yes, I
away.
remember, yes.
You can see what we are trying to do.
Correct.
So I will want you to weigh in on corruption and what it's doing. It is in the public know-how that even our president has mentioned that we are losing to the tune of 2 billion. Actually every day.
Yes.
So this is money that is supposed to impact on the infrastructure and the setup of life so that future generation can enjoy. With this kind of corruption, are we able to achieve what we need to achieve now so that our future generation can enjoy?
Actually, we are missing a lot because of the corruption.
Yes.
And we really need leaders who are going to start and they say one word.
Yes.
It is a very strong leadership word that it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
And this is where many leaders do not have the voice and the courage to say it doesn't matter. You may be my relative.
Yes.
You may be my best person.
Yes.
But if you are not doing the right things, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't
anymore.
matter.
We are going to take you where you belong.
Yes.
And this is the point and the statement that the leaders needs to have. That if you are found in corruption, it doesn't matter who you are. You might be the closest person to me.
Yes.
Or to my government.
Yeah.
But if you are not doing the right things,
Yeah.
I will not be entertain you.
Yes.
And this is the point whereby we need to be very firm as leaders
Yes.
with the corruption. Because as you have rightly said,
Yeah.
corruption is actually taking this country down.
Yes.
You find that there are so many projects that can be done because if you look at the billions
Yeah.
that are being lost.
2 billion.
2 billion is a lot
It's
of money.
a lot of money.
It is able to do a lot of things.
Yeah.
And therefore, we need our leadership to start and to say no to the corruption.
Yes.
And we need them to say it cannot continue. I would rather not have this position, but just entertain anybody who is in this corruption. Sometimes, by the way, if you want to be a leader, one of the things that you must get to know, you can't be popular.
Yes.
And many leaders want to be popular. And that's why when I go and do funny things, you don't want to expose me.
Yeah.
You want to remain relevant and popular.
Yeah.
But I can say the best leadership is whereby you say no to corruption. Because this corruption is killing the big projects for the future generations.
So leaders are entertaining corruption.
A lot.
And because they entertain corruption, because of the cronies and
Yes.
relatives
Yes,
and
yes.
friends.
Yes, yes.
The corruption is good because somebody who is seated in the office wants to benefit the
Correct,
cronies and
correct.
people around them.
Yes.
Can they really say they will succeed in leadership, ever succeed in leadership when they are condoning that kind of corruption?
I can say a big no.
Yes.
And that is something, and that's why I am so passionate
Yes.
about studying for the truth.
Yes.
And if, for example, you find Jethro, Jethro even talked about to Moses about the kind of a person who should be in leadership.
Yes.
One, he said capable men,
Yes.
trustworthy men,
That's true.
people who hate corruption.
Yes.
It is there in the Bible.
It is there in the Bible.
People who hate corruption.
Mm.
And if you are to become a leader,
Yes.
the first qualification is that you must hate corruption.
Mm.
And when you hate corruption, you must take action on the people who are involved in the corruption.
Yes.
Because I can say what is killing African countries is actually tolerating corruption from the people. Because we know what they are doing.
Yes.
In the departments, in the government, in the
Yes.
counties.
Yes.
There is a lot of corruption. Actually, yesterday, I was also listening to something, and it was quite amazing. You find 3 MPs here in Kenya.
In Kenya.
These 3 MPs, they are actually being paid allowances 2 or 3 times. They have gone outside the country,
Yeah.
and during the particular time they are outside the country, they are being paid allowances.
Sitting allowances.
Yes, sitting allowances.
Yes.
Being outside the country.
Yeah.
And also being paid sitting allowances here locally. How can you be in New Jersey and
Yes.
you are still in Kenya?
Yes.
Being paid 2 allowances. It is something that is going on.
Yeah.
We have seen it yesterday.
But our leaders do not have the integrity to say no to that.
That is the thing.
Yes.
And that's why we are saying these are the cases we need our leaders to start and say, you cannot be one person
Yes.
being in New Jersey and being in Kenya. Therefore, there is something you need to explain about this kind of corruption.
Yes.
And these are the leaders that we need. Leaders who are going to say that statement we said, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Because many of the leaders, they are fearing to stand for the truth,
Yes.
for the integrity. And therefore, it must get to a point whereby we start and say, we are saying zero corruption. Because it is possible.
Yes.
There are some places, there are some countries whereby if you talk about corruption, or if you are found in corruption, stern action is taken on you.
Yeah.
In fact, I heard about one country whereby if you are found stealing,
Yes.
what they will do, they will cut your hand.
They cut your hand.
They cut your hand. And so from now,
it becomes a permanent sign that you are a corrupt person.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's why we are saying if some countries, they can be so serious about corruption, it is because they know the effect of corruption.
Yes.
Our children are dying because of lack of food.
Yes.
Our children are not going to school. Our children are not able to live a decent life because of corruption. Money has been given to counties, but counties are not using money to develop their people.
Yes.
And therefore, we must say, all of us, as Kenyans actually, we must get to a point and say no to corruption.
So as long as we are doing this corruption, posterity is put at risk.
Very big risk.
Because, you know, when I was in class 1, in standard 1, we would go to the nearest health center.
Yes.
And there was every kind of medication, antibiotics, everything. Even some small surgeries could be performed there in the health center.
Yes.
Then a leader at some point, or leaders at some point, they did not do the right thing at that time.
Correct.
And then we adopted a culture that we have so many health centers and clinics and hospitals in this country, but they have no drugs. You must, when you see a doctor prescribe, you go and buy at the chemist. Why can't we return the culture? Because we can see now what we are doing. We have masses of people. Have you ever walked in Mathare Valley and see the population that is there? In Kibera, the population. And yet the dispensaries next door, when they get sick, they cannot be treated at that dispensary. What, as leaders, unless we are working, thinking about the future, what are we doing to our generations?
Actually, we are killing our generation.
Yes.
And as you have said, if resources are used in the right way, there is a lot that can happen even in our country.
Yes.
And I'll give you an example, and you have said it like well. For example, look at Nairobi.
Yes.
And these are the transitions that we are talking about.
Yeah.
Nairobi, within some few months,
Yeah.
we have started seeing a very great change.
Yeah.
In the sense that there was a change of guard.
Yes.
You find people have been struggling to get a cup of water.
Yes.
In this Nairobi.
Even water.
Even water.
Yeah.
Within some few years, one or so, we have seen so many boreholes which have been sunk. And people right now are enjoying water, even at the places they could
Within a
not
very
get.
short time.
Within a very short time.
Yeah.
The question is, what was happening with the other leadership? Because it is not that this leadership has gotten a lot of money. The money used to be there.
Yeah.
But it is actually because the money is not being used for the intended purpose. And you find that people are struggling. You find there are quite a number of things that has changed, even in the city of Nairobi. And the allocation is the same money. So the question is, where is the money going?
Yeah.
And this is what we are saying. We can be able to improve the life of the next generation.
Yes.
But because of corruption and having leaders who are not concerned about people, we cannot be able to create a sustainable generation.
Wow. This is a very, very emotive discussion, because we can see how leaders are messing up the lives of normal citizens because they are not doing what they are supposed to do.
Yes,
they are not building what they are supposed to build. They are not developing what they are supposed to develop.
Correct.
And they are letting money disappear under their watch, and they feel, okay, they keep on saying, my conscience is clear. And the money has been lost under their watch. So
terrible.
really God needs to help us, but you as a leader, wherever you are, you just need to know you will never call yourself a successful leader if future generations comes to suffer because of things that you could have done when you are in office. We are taking a short break. We will be right back. Welcome back, my dear viewer, to the Leadership Challenge Show. Here we are enjoying the discussion on successful leadership. And really, we envision that leaders will lead in a way, their leadership will be successful, and we are looking at the impact or the things that we leave for future generation. We continue with Pastor David, and we want to look at the leaders that we have. Do you believe many leaders are working for the future, or they are just working to occupy and finish their term in office? Because I've looked at the way leadership is being done, and I'm wondering whether they are leading to succeed or they are leading just to finish their term in the office.
Thank you very much, Reverend, again. In fact, when I look especially on African leaders,
yes,
quite a number of them, they are actually leading for posterity. Very few indeed.
Very few.
But there are quite a number of them who are not bothered or who have never been bothered about leading the people to posterity.
Yes.
And I can give you some few examples because there are quite a number of leaders that we know.
Yes.
And I know for you, you can remember.
Yes, of course.
Like the leadership for President Mobutu.
Mobutu Sese Seko. Yes.
There is one leader who was not really interested in succeeding. And I will give you the facts.
He was not interested in succeeding.
He was not interested.
He was just living his life.
He was living his life. One of the things that he did, he created a massive empire for himself by exploiting the economy. This is actually, he was working for himself in the sense that he wanted to make himself rich. And therefore, there are quite a number of things that he did which were not right. One, he tolerated corruption, the one we were talking about.
Those years.
Those years.
Yeah.
It was big.
Even before we knew there was something called corruption, it was still there.
It was big.
Yes.
He suppressed the human light to zero. And what happened again is that in terms of the inflations,
yes,
it lost to very high figures.
Inflation
and the devaluation of the currency. So you find that there are some few leaders, and even actually what he was doing, he was ruling through military. It is actually you do what I say, authoritarian. It is actually do what I say, and not what you think should be done.
Yeah.
So such kind of a leader is actually a leader that if you look at them, they are not really interested in succeeding. What they are interested in is actually being an empire for themselves.
Yes.
That is a classic leader, especially in our African leaders, that you can say this kind of a leadership is not really intended to succeed or to create anything for the future. He was actually looking at his own stomach and ambitions. And these are some of the things that we are fighting with quite a number of leaders. You find that the things that they are doing, even the projects they are doing, they are really not projects that are going to benefit the future generations. It is actually projects which are going to benefit themselves. And therefore, these people are actually in a position, not because of the good of the generation, but the good of themselves. But even having said that, you also find that there are some few other leaders who are doing things for posterity. And if you look at it, you can also be able to see, like the current leader, look, go to Rwanda. It will challenge you.
That definitely.
There is a lot, yes. If you look at Rwanda, you find that that country was down at a particular point. But the leader who is there right now, he has been able to raise the bar. To the extent that the people from Rwanda are now enjoying. Even the generations which are to come, they are going to enjoy the peace, the cleanliness, and many other economic things which are happening in the country. So you find that this person who is in leadership right now, President Kagame, he is actually looking at generations and seeing how he can be able to create a generation that is going to enjoy from what he is doing today. And this is exactly also what we see, even with our former president, Mwai Kibaki. You can see there are so many projects which he did, and the projects which he did, even in terms of economy, he built an economy that is able to help the future generations to be able to enjoy. You find that, like being an agricultural country, Kenya, there are so many roads. And also I think Uhuru is also trying to do the same now, in terms of opening up our markets. In terms of the roads, you find that it is a productive country, but many farmers, giving an example, they were not able to bring their produce to where the market is. And you find the leader actually going and making sure, like the roads, they have been opened up, so that even if you have your produce, you can be able to bring them to where the market is. That is a leader who is concerned about posterity. But you find there are some few leaders who are actually not there for posterity. So we are saying that for the leaders who are not concerned about posterity, it is actually something which is not right. Because they are killing the economy, they are killing the future generation, and we said you must be careful what you hand over to the next generation. Because if you do not hand over success to the next generation, that you are not a leader. And these are the things that we are supposed to say no. So to a big extent, some of the African leaders are failing us. It is something they need to think and think good. Because if we do not create economies which are going to ensure that our children who comes after us are able to move forward in a good way and say, you created something which is working for us. As we said, even the roads. We create roads, but we cut corners. These are the leaders that we are saying we don't need this kind of leaders because they are not helping the country and the future generations.
And you see now you mentioned Mobutu, and because of what he did in his time, he enjoyed, he lived and became wealthy, he built empires, he stored money in foreign nations. But where is the generation of today, many years after Mobutu left office? The country has no roads. The country, I understand, has big rivers, but it is impossible to find one road that moves from one region and goes all the way to Kinshasa. Because the man took the money, put it into foreign accounts, and just lived for himself. And this is what we are talking about, successful leadership. And if now we look at this and look at some of the leaders we have in our country, are they really, majority even of elected members, are they really living to move their regions forward so that future generations can enjoy, or they are just enjoying their time in office and making the best out of it?
I can tell you, Reverend,
Yeah.
that most of our current leaders,
Yes.
and let's narrow it down to Kenya right now.
Yeah, Kenya.
Most of our leaders are not thoughtful about the future.
They don't think about tomorrow.
They don't think
They think about
tomorrow.
now and the here.
And actually what they have done,
Yes,
and they
yes.
have succeeded in doing it,
Yeah.
actually they have succeeded in making people not to think about tomorrow.
Also, they make sure we don't think about tomorrow.
Yes.
How do they do that?
What they do is, and you have seen, they only come to us when they want to be voted in. After they have been voted in, they don't even engage us on any other thing.
Oh.
You will only find them busy when they are coming to the people, when they are looking for votes.
Yes.
And that is the only time they will come and give some few handouts to people. And when they give the handouts to people, they are voted in again, and they will actually master the art of making you stay at that level that you are not able to think beyond. Thinking about what is it that you are doing for us that is going to help our generation and generations to come.
Yeah.
So what they are doing actually is making sure that you are just within the same level. And your thinking is not expanded. You are not able to see the other great things that you ought to see.
Yeah.
And you find, for example, in terms of even the counties, a lot of money is going to the counties. Some few counties actually have done very well. But look at some of the counties. There is really nothing that is happening. You find that some project starts and they stall. And there is no explanation about what has happened. These are things that we are saying we have made our people just to remain at the same level. We only come and excite them for some time, because especially Kenyan, they like excitement.
Yes.
They like people who are going just to speak and do very funny
Yeah, they
things.
like people who can entertain them.
Yes, entertainment.
Yes.
But you see, this entertainment is what has killed the Kenyan folk, in the sense that they are entertained, and once they have been entertained, they feel things are still okay. So they put us at that level of feeling as if things are still okay. But you see, good leader will be able to challenge himself that these are the needs of the people.
Yes.
This is the revenue I have. I want to make sure I do something which is generating revenue. And as we say the last time, we have seen some few counties like Makueni.
Yeah.
You can see the projects which are moving on right now. We find some factories have been formed, have been created, which are able to make sure that people are going to have a life that is going to take them beyond where they are. But there are some of the people you find that
They
are
don't think ahead.
Yeah, if they are going to do a load, you know where they will do it?
Yeah.
The load that takes them to their home.
Oh. That is a failure, a leader that is a failure.
Yes, yes.
Because the only road you build is taking you to your home.
Yes.
And not to the market.
No, no.
Or to the ginnery.
No.
Where they are producing cotton.
No, no, no. It is actually what they will do, they will allocate finances for the load that is going to benefit themselves. But for
Very
you,
selfish.
Yeah, but for you, and it is greed. But for you,
Yeah.
they will not do anything. What they will do is to keep on giving you things which are actually for a day. And as we said, if you are going only to succeed during your generation,
Yes.
it is a serious problem. You should succeed in this generation, and you should pass something for the next generation, and that is what we call it.
You know what amazes me, Pastor David, is because we live in this city. You go to a place like Mathare Valley. Mathare Valley is the same area it was during the time of Kenyatta, during the time of Moi. And the population now is either is like 10 times more or something like that, and they are still occupying the same shanties. Can we really call ourselves successful when we are leaving people still using flying toilets in the present Kenya? We cannot remove them from carton houses and put them to flats, And yet we are talking about money being lost in tune of billions.
That's why we say that is not success at all. It cannot be.
Yes.
And I am saying, look, if the first leadership, the second leadership,
Yes.
the third and the fourth, we are still at the same position.
Yes.
And we know the kind of monies that this country generates. And we know exactly even how much money also we get. You know, like now, I look at the budget.
Yes.
We are talking about over 3 trillion.
Trillion. That's a lot of money.
When you talk about that kind of a budget,
Yeah.
and you are saying some of the project you want to say is actually to uplift the housing and all that. And you
Yes.
go to Mathare, you go to Kibera,
Yeah.
and you find the state that people are in.
The shanties are still the same.
Surely we have a problem with our leadership.
There's a big problem.
There is a big problem.
Yes.
Because I realize, and that's why I talked about Nairobi. I realized that if leaders want to do something, they can do.
Yeah.
And I will give you a good example.
Yeah.
You remember Kibera,
Yes.
there is a time there were no roads at
Yes.
all.
Yes.
Within a short time, especially during the campaigning period,
Yeah.
I think it was actually 2017 around
Yeah,
there.
around that, the transition of
The roads,
Kibaki and
yes,
yes,
the
Kenyatta.
roads were done.
Mm.
You find there are roads right now at
Yeah.
Kibera.
Yeah. Although some of these projects are also World Bank
Yes,
projects. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So what we are saying is there are all these monies which are coming in.
Yeah.
But when you look at them, you ask yourself a question. How comes we are able to do some roads the time we want, we are getting into politics,
Yeah.
and we are not able to continue doing projects in these areas
Yeah.
the time that we are not in campaigning mode? It tells us the leaders, they are not interested with you.
They are interested
They are
with themselves.
interested with themselves. And this
Wow.
is what is killing us. Our leaders, up to now. You know, let me give you an example.
Yes, yes.
You see, the disciples of Jesus,
Yeah.
there were 12.
Mm.
And Jesus kept on scaling them down.
Yeah.
There were 9, there were 3.
Mm.
These 3, he used to tell them more things
Than the others.
than the others.
Yes.
And actually, he scaled down, even to one person.
Yes.
And you know how he scaled down. And that is actually even how you actually do, even when you are choosing a successor. These are some of the things that Jesus taught us that you are supposed to do in choosing a successor.
Yes.
He looked at Peter, John, and James.
Mm.
And when he looked at John and James,
Yeah.
he realized there is one day that these 2 gentlemen, they saw some people who are not worshiping like them. And they told Jesus, call fire from heaven
And consume them.
and consume them.
Yes.
Jesus asked them, where did you get this kind of a spirit? And
Yes.
Jesus realized that these people only want authority and power.
Ah.
There is really nothing else that they need. So Jesus, on the 3 that he used to keep them allowed himself, he realized these ones are dangerous men.
Yeah.
If I gave them their way.
So you narrow now to one.
Yes, it's
Yes.
narrowed to one,
Yes.
who is Peter.
Yes.
And he asked Peter a question. Peter, do you love me? And Peter said, Master, you know I love you. Do you know what? In terms of leadership, the greatest point is love. When you have love for people, you will become a great leader. What we find our leaders doing, they have no love. They love their positions. They love their authority. They love what they are getting, but they don't love you. They will come and say many great things about you, but they don't love you. Peter qualified because he had a love for Jesus.
Yes.
And we are saying, in terms of our leadership, we must be people who love. We love people. And we are concerned that if the life of these people is not moving forward, we have no use to celebrate.
Yes.
But you find that you are actually eating well, you are driving great cars, you are buying properties, but your people who put you there, they are suffering constantly. This is a bad leadership. And we are saying we must get to a point whereby we must choose leaders who love us.
Yes.
Because where we have a problem is because we don't have leaders who love us. They are leaders who are concerned about themselves. And these are some of the things that we are saying until we get to a point where we get to that kind of leadership.
Yes.
Whereby somebody will say, I cannot continue this way when my people are suffering.
Wow.
It is a point that we need to change
Yes.
in our leadership
For
style.
us to succeed in leadership, we must do things for the future.
Correct.
We must invest in the future. We cannot be borrowing money and use it for only thing that will last only within our lifetime.
Correct, correct.
We must do things that generations and generations will enjoy. And remember, success is not success unless there's a successor.
Correct.
And we cannot be proud if we are enjoying and driving big cars and living posh lives, and our children in the future will have no place to call an hospital or to call home.
Correct.
We must do leadership with the aim of succeeding in leadership.
Correct.
We take a short break. When we return, we shall wind up. Welcome back to the Leadership Challenge Show here on EBN. Really, we are having a great discussion on successful leadership. And we have found that many leaders, succeed as a person, but not as the leadership. The leadership is not successful, but the person has succeeded. The leadership has not brought people out of poverty, but the leader himself and his family, they are out of poverty. We want now to major match on legacy, because I know we are, within a short time, we'll be doing transitioning leadership in a year's time. And we want to delve more and talk more about legacy. Briefly weigh in on the issue of legacy as pertaining the matters of posterity.
Thank you, Reverend.
Yes.
Today I have carried something.
Oh.
And this one
Yes.
is called a baton.
It's got a baton.
Yeah, baton.
This is what people hand over when they are doing a race, a relay.
Correct.
Yeah.
And even you have said exactly my words, that leadership is comparable to a relay race.
A relay race.
It is a race whereby you have to hand over the baton.
Oh.
It doesn't matter your speed. What matters is how safely do you hand over this baton.
Wow.
You can be very fast, but if you do not hand over this baton safely,
Yes.
you will realize that there will be messes allowed there. Sometimes you can be very fast, but when you get to the other person that you are supposed to hand over the baton to,
Yes.
you find that you are still holding it.
You are refusing
not
to release it.
Yes, you are refusing to release it.
Yes.
So what will happen is other people who are behind will come and release it safely. And when they release it safely, you realize that you will be defeated, not because you are not fast, but because you did not do the right thing in terms of passing the baton to the next generation. And therefore, it is very important. And the Bible says in Psalm 78 and verse number 4,
Yes.
that we will not hide these truths from our children.
Because this is the next generation.
Yes.
We must tell them some few truths. And these are the truths.
Yeah.
We will tell the next generations about the glorious deed of the Lord.
Yes. We will tell the future generations.
Correct.
Yes.
About the glorious deeds of the Lord.
Yes.
About his power and his mighty wonders.
Wow.
So these are the truths that we are saying. In terms of our leadership, we must relate it now to the next generation.
Yes.
Because there are some few things that we need to teach our generation.
Yeah.
We talked about corruption. And we are saying we must get to teach the next generation the value of being pure and clean.
Yes.
The value of doing the good leadership. Because we say they are true leaders and they are just leaders. And we must take them to that level of becoming the true leaders.
Yes.
And therefore, it is very important what we pass to the next generation. Because it is something that if we don't do the right thing to the next generation, we'll win the whole country. And therefore, in terms of leadership, we must be able to move with the next generation and pass the right things to them. Right now, the things that we are passing to the next generation, it is not something that is good, because you get to open the televisions, you hear corruption. What is it that you are passing to the next generation? When we are talking about this leadership, we must be so mindful about what is it that we are passing. As parents, what is it that we are teaching our children? Because at one particular time, these children are going to have also families. And you will find that whatever you taught them is exactly what they are going to take forward. And therefore, it is a challenge for all of us that we must be people in our generation. We must be able to connect to the other generation and connect them with value. Because what is killing the society is that we are not passing the right values to the next generation. And we need to do that in the church. We need to pass the right buttons to the people who are below us. Because if we don't do that, what will happen is that we will have a generation that we are not able to rule or to manage. And the problem will be us, because we did not pass the right value. So it is very important we start thinking about this generation.
And to ask you, Pastor David, do you think our leaders are preparing the next generation adequately?
No, they are not.
They are not.
And you know why they are not?
We are not putting a lot of money into the youth.
Yes, we are not.
Why
they are not doing this is because there has been a fallacy all the time. They have been saying to the young people that you are the leaders for tomorrow.
The future leaders.
That is wrong.
It's wrong.
They cannot be the future for tomorrow. They are leaders right now, because if they don't learn today, how will they manage tomorrow? Those are the questions that we need to ask ourselves. So they must be put in leadership today. So that when they are making some few mistakes, and even I love the Bible, because you look at it and you'll be amazed about it. Look at the way that Moses did it through the advice from Jethro. He was told, give them simple cases. The big cases, which they cannot be able to make a decision, handle them. But they are given some cases to be able to handle. So we are saying...
In that way, they are being trained.
Correct. So we must engage our young people now. We show them this is how leadership is done. When you get a complex issue, bring it to me, and I will be able to direct you on what you need to do. And that's the only way we are going to do. But you see, the thing is, our leaders fear. They fear that these young people may actually come and start shining. And many people would want at least to suppress them so that they are not going to shine. And therefore, it is a disaster. You should be comfortable and confident that these young people, we can train them today, and they can make the leadership to be something enjoyable even in the future. So there is a challenge in terms of the training, and it is the high time that our leaders start engaging the young people. We are complaining the young people are actually going to drugs and many other things. We are not engaging them.
But we are not engaging them.
We need to engage them to something that is productive, and that is teaching them the good values, the leadership skills, and that is the only way we are going to save this generation.
Wow. Thank you so much, Pastor David. I think that was very profound, very deep, and very analytical, really. You have really analyzed the situation very well. And I believe you as a leader, you're hearing what the situation is looking like. We must lead for tomorrow. We must do things today for future generations. We must invest in the young people for successful leadership. We cannot say we are successful in leadership unless we are sure those who are coming after us will not struggle the same way we struggled. And if we do that, the future generation will be able to also to do things for their future in their time rather than struggle with things for their very present time. Thank you so much for being together with us. We must end it there, but we will come again because this was very wide. We will go even deeper and talk about successful leadership. Otherwise, for now, I say bye-bye and God bless you.